Hey, hey, hey. Happy Monday. Come on in. Pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, incredibly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Monday, April 10th, 2023. This is live stream 907. I think. Pretty sure. I don't think it's 908. I'm pretty sure it's 907. So, welcome aboard, everyone. If you are not overly familiar with the Gaming Gang Dispatch, let me point out, super casual around here. We just hang out talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news and take normally a first look at a game. And tonight we're actually going to be kicking off the Witcher week here on the Dispatch, because each show, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings, I am going to be taking a first look at a release for the Witcher pen and paper role-playing game from our Talsorian Games. And we are going to get the ball rolling tonight with a look inside a Witcher's journal. Yes, I believe this contains both player-facing and game master-facing content. So we're going to be taking a look at that. And then as a bonus, we'll be taking a peek at Lands and Lords, which I believe this is the screen, the Game Master screen, and then I think there's a supplement in here as well. So we're going to be taking a peek. And of course, big thank you to the fine folks over at our Talsorian Games for sending all these Witcher goodies along for us to check out. Sweet! So I should point out, if you're not overly familiar with how this show works, and you are tuning in because you want to get that first look at a Witcher's journal, be patient, because we tackled the tabletop gaming news first around here. So it'll probably be 35 minutes or so before we jump on into that first look. So if you're hanging out live, put your feet up, relax, take it easy. I'm sure you already had a long Monday, so be good to yourself. Just enjoy the tabletop gaming news that I am going to be sharing with you. Now, if you happen to be watching this 30 minutes or more after the show is ended, well, then there will be timestamps. So if you are impatient and you just got to get to that first look, you'll be able to do so. You'll be able to jump past the tabletop gaming news by clicking on the timestamps that are located in the show notes. Or, depending on the device you happen to be watching this on, those timestamps might actually be right there in the timeline of the video right in front of you. So keep that in mind. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you will not find here on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Lastly, this is a live stream, so that means there is chat available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. Plus, you must be a subscriber for at least 48 hours before you can take part in chat. yet another way that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you want to say howdy, maybe you've got a question, a comment, maybe there's something about a Witcher's Journal you want a closer look at, by all means, chime in. I will do my best to respond. First out the gate tonight in chat was the Motor City Madman. Yes, the Madman himself. And no, we are not talking about Ted Nugent. We're talking about our Madman. He was first out the gate saying howdy. And the Madman happens to be one of our chat moderators, as is Flaming Huron, who's with us in chat. Mark Dandy's also hanging out, as is Coco B. So, chat is off and running already. Sweet. Very nice. Hopefully everybody had a nice Easter holiday if you celebrate. And if not, then enjoyed Passover or Ramadan or just had a really nice spring weekend. All right. Let's jump on into the news because I've got, as usual, a pretty eclectic mix. Arriving in time for Halloween 2023 is Boo Oop. Here's the latest from Smirk and Dagger. A deceptively cute, deceivingly challenging, and spoopy abstract strategy game for 2 players. Every time you place a kitten on the bed, it goes boop, which is to say that it pushes every other kitten next to it 1 space away. Line up 3 kittens in a row and graduate them into cats, and then get 3 cats in a row to win. But it isn't that easy with both you and your opponent constantly booping kittens around. It's like herding cats. And now things just got boopier and spoopier. Yes, spoopier, not spookier. With new ghost cats that float between the spaces, and so scary, cats will leap right over each other to get away. Approachable but challenging, this abstract game follows the incredible success of the original Boop as a limited seasonal game. It features a new quilted fabric board that lays over the back of the box, completing the miniature bed playing surface. Also includes 34 adorable wooden cat and kitten playing pieces. Plus, we also have those new ghost cats, which boop cats over other pieces as they move across the board between spaces. Boo Oop is for 2 players, ages 10 and up, plays in around 25 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $34.99 when it arrives in September. Love the artwork. It is very, very cute on the cover right there. That reminds me of my old cat, Smokey, who was a black cat I had adopted, mainly because I was told people wouldn't adopt black cats, and I was like, the hell with that. I'm adopting that cat. So I have to admit, it's very nice to see a company planning ahead for a Halloween release or any holiday release. Because strangely enough, it seems like a lot of companies out there, especially when they're doing Kickstarters for games which are seasonal themed, they tend to start the Kickstarter during that season as opposed to attempting to be able to provide the game during that season, right? See it all the time. So once again, this is Boo Oop, which is from Smirk and Dagger. Bandman says about 10 years ago, one of their cats booped his daughter's portable stereo right off the dresser. Yikes. Nathaniel Benj is with us, or Benji, taking a stab at that. Welcome aboard, Nathaniel. Thanks for joining us in chat tonight. On to our next news piece, now available for pre-order from Capstone Games, is Age of Innovation. Here's the scoop. Diverse factions, each with unique characteristics, populate this world of varying terrain. Here you compete to construct buildings and merge them into grand cities. Age of Innovation allows you to create new combinations of factions, homelands, and abilities so that each game plays out in different ways. You control one of these factions and will terraform the world's terrain into that of your homeland. Then you will be able to construct your buildings, giving you benefits to propel your faction forward. Proximity to other factions may limit your expansion, but it also gains you significant advantages in the game. This tension adds to the appeal of the Terra Mystica universe. Upgrade your buildings to gain valuable resources such as tools, scholars, money, and power. Build schools who advance in different sciences and collect books, which you can use to create innovations. Build your palace to gain a powerful new ability, or build workshops, guilds, and universities to complete your culture. With 7 double-layered planning displays, 12 factions, 17 palace abilities, 18 innovations, and other variable game components, you'll be able to create an almost inexhaustible number of game combinations. Couple that with the large number of high-quality wooden parts, and you have all you need for an enduring and exciting gaming experience. This is from the team behind the award-winning Terra Mystica. Age of Innovation is a standalone game in the Terra Mystica universe, expanding the gameplay of its predecessor. Age of Innovation is for 1 to 5 players, ages 14 and up, plays in around 40 to 200 minutes, and will carry an MSRP of $99.99 when it arrives in August. So with that playtime, I would take a guess that we're probably looking at about 40 minutes per player. Saying that's 40 to 200 minutes, 1 to 5 players. I still know how to divide. So yes, I would say it's probably 40 minutes per player. I have always heard really good things about Terra Mystica, and I'm kind of curious, seeing I've never played it, I'm sort of curious if this is kind of building on the same game, if it's the same theme, because it almost sounds like it is, but maybe an even deeper gaming experience than what you would have with Terra Mystica. Once again, I don't know. I will actually see about maybe taking a peek at this at Gen Con, because it is an August release. So I'll take a stab that this is a Gen Con release for Capstone Games. Kathy Evans and Chuck Terrell are swinging on into chat. Good to see you both. So, Nathaniel, I think, excuse me, I still have that sinus thing going, so it's actually making my nose run a little bit. I think this might be Nathaniel's first visit here in chat. Not positive, but if it is, thanks for joining us. Moving right along, let's talk about some role-playing game news, because now available in print from Steamforged Games is Animal Adventures: The Faraway Sea. Here's what I know. Embark on swashbuckling adventures in the fantastic faraway sea. Greetings, adventurer! In your paws is a source book for the world's favorite role-playing game. Unfurl your dog-eared map and leave port for a campaign and setting unlike any other, the faraway sea. These wondrous waves are home to an ever-changing archipelago where unique islands come and go with the passing days, thanks to mysterious magical forces. Perfect for an enterprising explorer such as yourself. Around the faraway sea, a strange community has sprung up, the floating city of Flotsam, a haven for adventurers and oddballs of all kinds. Intriguing mysteries and incredible discoveries lurk on 2 legs or 4. For instance, Flotsam once had a twin, Jetsam, which suddenly vanished without a trace several years ago. Many exotic creatures call the faraway sea home. Play as awakened animals of all races in your travels, including an orangutan, sea otter, albatross, and more. You can use this book to start a brand new role-playing campaign or add the Faraway Sea to existing campaigns. What are you waiting for? Hoist the mainsail, lift the anchor. The Faraway Sea awaits. This hardcover is available now. I do not have a page count, unfortunately. Looks like it's probably clocking in maybe 220. Probably somewhere around there, 200, 220 pages. It does carry an MSRP of $44.99. And I think off the top of my head, I believe that there are actually 2 other Animal Adventures books from Steamforged Games, including like the core Animal Adventures. So, gotta say, I like the artwork. The artwork looks pretty cool. It looks pretty cool. And I know a lot of people out there really dig the anthropomorphic animals and things like that in the role-playing games. I am not a big fan. I've pointed that out before. But then again, I am not standing in anybody's way of enjoying a role-playing game however they would like. On to a money-saving deal, because currently there's an offer featuring Smirk releases. And I got the deets on the deal from Bundle of Holding. Adventura! This all-new Smirk bundle, I know, I'll just say Morkborg from here on out, is our second offer of gloomy and dispiriting third-party supplements compatible with the Doom Metal Apocalypse Art Punk Tabletop Fantasy Role-Playing Game. Say that 5 times fast. Morkborg from Free League Publishing. Misery alert! This offer does not, that's right, I said does not include the Morkborg core rulebook. You need it to use these supplements, but it's not part of this offer. Published under a permissive third-party license, these English-language indie titles transport you to dark, joyless worlds that send foolhardy adventurers to despair, death, and purgatory for an unbeatable bargain price. That's right! You can go to hell for a low, low, low price. For just $14.95, you'll get all 9 titles in the starter collection with a retail value of $60 as DRM-free PDFs, including Gellenbeck Sacrifice, Richard Kelly's conversion hack Knurthberg, which actually brings Mickberg into the jazz age for cosmic horror investigations. A little mythos action, I believe. Plus 5 Cthorkian supplements, Borkthorg, Faces in the Crowd, Misery Me, Rum Runner's Arsenal, and 7 Strangers. There's also Dire Mutterings and Philip Reed's Micro Hexcrawl Curix Cursed Chapbook. And if you pay more than the current threshold price of $29.66, you'll level up and also get the entire bonus collection with 10 more titles worth an additional $71. 3 more horrific imaginings by Christian Eichhorn, Bergen Crypt, Dungeoneer's Black Book, and Purgatory. A way for your character to return from the dead, which you need a lot in Morkborg. 5 Thorkborg investigations. All's well at the McAllen farm. Yeah, sure, I'm sure it's not. Moonlight and Tide, A Quiet Country Home, Signs in the Entrails, that's always nice, and Tombs of Our Ancestors. There's also A Wizard's Dying Wish, 5 Quick Encounters by Phil Reed, and Richard Kelly's treatise on Good Boys in Dark Times, Borkborg. Once again, just want to mention, the core rulebook is not part of this offer. These savings run through April 24th, and 10% of your payment after gateway fees will be donated to the pandemic-related charity Direct Relief. So if you are looking to get your hands on some Mickberg content, including what seems to be a whole lot of mythos-related entries, This is a bundle of holding to take a peek at. Although, I must point out, there is a lot of crap out there from Yerkberg. I'm just saying. I'm not saying this is, but I am saying that there are a lot of adventures that have been released by third parties for Yerkberg that are more focused on being gross out artwork than actual adventures. Although I have heard some good things about A Wizard's Dying Wish, so should point that out. Moving right along, the Dying Earth box set has arrived for Dungeon Crawl Classics. Here's the skinny from Goodman Games. Explore the singular world of Jack Vance's Dying Earth, set in the distant last days of the world, where magic and science blend together and querulous sorcerers feud endlessly. With Dungeon Crawl Classics Dying Earth, you'll discover the tools to play in Cujul's and Rialto's world, sinking the mighty Pendulum or fall to an indifferent Gru while searching for skinolent baubles among the ensorcelled remains of the ancient Earth. This box set contains comprehensive rules, options, and new material for the Dungeon Crawl Classics role-playing game, explicitly designed to capture the setting of the Dying Earth. Within, you'll find new classes, creatures, patrons, spells, and more, inspired by the Dying Earth stories for use in your Dungeon Crawl Classics role-playing games, including 4 new classes: the Magician, the Vat Thing, the Wayfarer, and Witch, as well as new rules for grudge tokens to track the resentments that characters accumulate with every minor imprecation they encounter. This set also includes a beautiful map of the world of Dying Earth, illustrated by Doug Kovacs. Do want to point out, a copy of the Dungeon Crawl Classics rulebook is required to use this box set. Inside, you'll find the Player's Librum, clocks in at 64 pages, the Primer of Practical Magic at 104 pages, and the Intimate Anatomy of Several Creatures and Personages of the 21st Aeon. I like the title of that. 96 pages. And of course, as mentioned, there is the Doug Kovacs map of the Dying Earth. You can get your hands on the box set and PDF together for an MSRP of $59.99, or you can grab just the 278-page PDF alone over at DriveThruRPG for $39.99. Yes, very nice, very nice. So, as I had mentioned last week, I am going to have an opportunity to review this. Fine folks over at Goodman Games is sending this box set along. Now, you may recall, I was kind of curious as far as if this was going to have the rules built in or not, if you needed to have the Dungeon Crawl Classics core rulebook, which clocks in, I don't know, at about 408 pages off the top of my head, 410, somewhere around there. So we now find out that yes, you do need it. So Kevin Smith is Kevin Smith is with us in chat asking, do I mean the release of the PDF? No, it's actually the the box set. The box set went out to Kickstarter backers, but it did not hit retail. It hits retail this week, according to Goodman Games. Now, I'm not saying that Goodman Games said it already went out to backers. I believe it went out to backers already, but the box set is making its way into stores this week. The PDF has been out for a little bit, I do believe. All right, who else has popped into chat? We've got Hector Strafford, who says, now I want resentment tokens in every role-playing game. And Agent Especial is with us as well. Oh, so Kevin says they were talking about BRP because Agent Especial was asking about it. Oh, I see. Okay. See, I don't always catch everything going on in chat. Asking if we've already talked about BRP. I have not. I don't think. Trying to remember. I don't think I have. No, I don't think I shared a news piece about basic role play. Huh. I forgot about it. Actually, I shouldn't say I forgot about it because I actually just put a banner ad up on thegaminggang.com for it. I thought I had done a news piece. Well, I got to be honest. I already have the news for tomorrow already put together. So I will actually put together a news piece for basic role playing for Wednesday's show. And we will get that out. So yes, Kevin, sorry about that. I thought, because all I caught was, you mean the release of the PDF? So I thought you were talking about the Dying Earth. So I am really, really looking forward to that. Sweet. So that was the news for tonight. Of course, I was just talking about DriveThruRPG. Don't forget, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit, say, DriveThruRPG or Dungeon Masters Guild, Storyteller's Vault, Wargame Vault, what have you, by all means, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. Now, those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. Also, if you like this video, hopefully you've already given it the thumbs up. But if you like this video, if you dig the channel, if you find thegaminggang.com to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, you can always swing on over to paypal.me/thegaminggang and making a small donation. And big thank you to both the Madman and Marcus George, who both very recently made not so small donations over on paypal.me/thegaminggang. Thank you very, very much. And thank you to everyone out there who happens to use either the banner ads and or paypal.me to help support the Gaming Gang, because outside of advertising on the website, that's pretty much what keeps me around. Don't do Kickstarters, don't do Patreons. I don't go dipping my hand in your pocket all the time. Sweet. All right. So, Agent Especial is asking, what is my opinion about the attempt to copyright the mechanics? That's not something I'm familiar with. I'm taking a guess that since the discussion was BRP, is it Chaosium who's looking to? Oh, actually, Kevin's asking the same thing. Is this Chaosium trying to copyright BRP? Because whoever's going to try is going to fail, since you can only copyright the expression of an idea, not the idea itself. Yeah, that's not something I've heard either about Chaosium. And I would think the folks over at Chaosium already know that. I mean, I know the folks, no, not everybody, but the folks over there I do know don't strike me as the types who would be trying to do that. Omenal is with us in chat. Good to see you, Omenal. Says, they don't believe you can copyright rules. All right, so here's the thing. And then there's something else I'm going to talk about, which is kind of funny because the whole copywriting rules thing kind of came about recently because of the open game license fiasco. And I was going to talk about Wizards of the Coast for a few moments tonight. So, as Omanel points out, I don't think you can copyright rules. That could be up for interpretation. So, I did hear back when the whole open game license fiasco was going on, I should copyright that myself. The open game license fiasco, TM. Okay, you use that. Yeah, pay me a nickel. I came up with it. Anyway, I had heard that there had been some judges who had chimed in saying that if a case came before them regarding the whole copywriting rules, they would probably have favored being able to copyright the rules. So, don't know. I mean, the point's all moot anyway because it didn't happen. And it's not going to happen, I guess. Who knows? But yes, that is not something that that I've heard. Kevin says you can patent a mechanic, but I think Chaosium lost their chance when they didn't do it in the late 70s. Yeah, there are a lot of companies out there who use a percentile system that are not actually built on basic role-playing. It's just a percentile system. So there is that. Anyway, as I mentioned, I was going to discuss Wizards of the Coast for a few moments, not a whole long time. So I hear Wizards of the Coast has decided to drop the title 1 D&D. I wonder, who was it? There's somebody I know who immediately said that that was not going to be the name of the game. And then when they mentioned that publicly multiple times, there were people online who said they were an idiot. Yeah, I wonder who that guy was. Come on, it was so obvious. It was obvious they weren't going to sit there and call it 1 D&D. As I said before, they're going to celebrate 50 years of Dungeons and Dragons next year, and they were going to change the name of the game. But I have also heard that Wizards of the Coast is not going to change the edition. So they're going to call it, from what I've heard, now, once again, who knows, right? It could change tomorrow. The wind could blow and public opinion goes one way and suddenly Wizards of the Coast is like, oh, we're going to call it Fairies and Fireflies from now on. Anyway, they're saying that they're going to call it the 2024 revision of 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. That's going to be the name. So I guess a lot of people are pissed off about that. Because I guess in the playtest, there are some playtesters. I haven't really looked at the playtest. I almost never do. I'll probably take a peek at, I forget the name of it now. Cobalt Press has revealed the name of their system. It's not Project Black Flag. I'll probably take a peek at that because I'm kind of curious once that gets kind of closer. So, but personally, I think that's kind of stupid. 2004 revised edition of Dungeons and Dragons. Come on. It's like, give me a break. So we'll see. So they're saying that they're not going to call it, this is according to Wizards of the Coast. They're not going to call it 5.5. They're not going to call it 6th edition. But as I started to say, there are people who are taking part in the playtest who are saying that it's not as backward compatible as Wizards of the Coast has claimed. that I guess there's some unearthed arcana that's being released that they're saying that it doesn't feel like it'll fit with 5e. I don't know. Like I said, I just kind of picked up on this stuff. I just wanted to point out, after I took a lot of shit from people about the 1D&D, as well as the, you remember right off the bat, I talked about how this is back when the open game license fiasco started. I shared that video talking about how I highly doubted Wizards of the Coast was going to stick to their guns on that, because they were going to see all that, pushback. And once again, people called me an idiot on that too. Well, you don't know what you're talking about. No, I'm just talking common sense. I'm just talking, business aspects that are nothing unusual. So Kevin says, well, giving everybody their subclass at 3rd level doesn't number on the backward compatibility. Yeah, that would. Nathaniel says, snippet from the web in the context of games. 102B means that rules, game mechanics, and any other functional elements in addition to the overall idea of a game are not copyrightable according to the American Bar Association, I believe is who that's coming from. Nice. Kevin, thank you. Tales of the Valiant. That is the new title for the open game license Kobold Press system, which will, I guess it's close to being done. Just goes to show you that they'd probably been working on it long before the OGL fiasco. So there is that. So Flaming Heron says, well, might as well just call the new edition or whatever it is of D&D a turd. Coco B says, oh, like 5e was supposed to be backwards compatible? Shocking, says Big B. Nice. All righty then. So just wanted to share that. We all knew it would not be 1D&D. Yeah, I shouldn't say we all. The gaming gang, the gang out there in chat. Yes, we all knew it wouldn't be 1D&D. Kevin says that he's pretty sure that Kobold Press kicked their system into high gear when Wizards of the Coast tried to revoke the open game license a year earlier than they thought they would. All right, so tonight we are going to be diving on into the Witcher pen and paper role-playing game, A Witcher's Journal, in just a few moments. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
Has your day ever been like this?
Time for relaxing. My working day is through. I'm in my slippers and watching TV too. Now pour me a glass of National Bohemian and I'll be satisfied.
Wherever under the blue sky you are, when you thirst for something wet, cold, and delicious, open a can or bottle of National Bohemian beer. So light, so refreshing. Nothing cools your thirst like National Bohemian. Wet, cold, and delicious.
Oh, heck, my flying saucer's out of atomic fuel.
I'm even worse off. I'm out of Wilkins coffee.
G.I. Joe, G.I. Joe, fighting man from head to toe, on the land, on the sea, in the air.
G.I. Joe attacks! Boom, boom! G.I. Joe takes the hill! Bam, bam! Horrific battle!
Terrific equipment to have a battle with. When you get G.I. Joe and the authentic G.I. Joe equipment, you'll have the greatest realism, the greatest fun you ever had in playing soldier. Box after box of authentic uniforms and equipment, so you can change your G.I. Joe soldier into a camouflage Marine ready for battle, a Navy frogman with complete scuba suit and inflatable life raft, an Air Force pilot with high-altitude helmet and air vest. Get G.I. Joe and get G.I. Joe equipment so you can set up exciting battle action whenever you want. Remember, only G.I. Joe is G.I. Joe.
Yes, the real G.I. Joes. The real G.I. Joes. I had one of those. Disavow 92 says they had one of those. I should say we had more than one. We had quite a lot of G.I. Joe stuff. My brother and I mean, come on, we were boys. Gonna get all that, like, guns, stuff like that back in the day. Yes. Kevin says, look at the motion on those action figures. So Nero's Fiddle and Vaughn Moore are hanging with the gang. Welcome to you both. So Kevin says, exciting battle action equals kids yelling? Yeah, pretty much, effectively. So tonight, I am going to take a first look at the Witcher pen and paper role-playing game, A Witcher's Journal. It's written by Cody Pondsmith, Lisa Pondsmith, James Hutt, Jay Kovach, Terabella Pondsmith, and Jay Gray. No Michael Pondsmith, though. I'm kind of shocked. I mean, because it is from our Talsorian Games. This 160-page hardcover carries the MSRP of $30, or you can grab the PDF alone over at DriveThruRPG for $15. And before I swing on over to the other camera, let's say hello to Sarah D, joining us in chat. Says her sister and herself used to steal their brother's G.I. Joes as replacements when he'd pop the heads off the Ken dolls. I got to point out, I remember as a kid, I was probably, 10, 11. My grandparents on my dad's side, they were from Ireland. And, they were older. They were elderly even when I was a small kid. They bought us, like, Ken dolls, thinking that they were like G.I. Joes one year for Christmas, and was like, oh, got to bite our tongues here. we almost lost it. So Kevin says he doesn't think Michael Pondsmith is really into fantasy games. Says he read somewhere that Michael Pondsmith switched from D&D to Traveler pretty quickly back in the 70s. Well, Michael Pondsmith, I always, think of Castle Falkenstein, which is kind of fantasy, but mainly cyberpunk. which we might be looking at a Cyberpunk Red Week in the near future as well. So anyway, let's swing on over to the other camera, because here I've got The Witcher, a Witcher's Journal. So before we jump on in, do want to mention the fine folks over at our Talsorian Games did send along this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. These days, it's important you know that. Also, we're not going to look at each and every page, but I do want to get a good feel for what's inside a Witcher's Journal. This is not an adventure book as far as I know, so I don't have to warn you about any spoilers. So let's take a look at the back here. Take a glimpse into the golden age of Witchers, when monsters roamed the world and you could hardly travel to the next town without running into a Cyclops or Foglet. Through the journal of the founder of the Griffin School of Witchers, Erlend Larvik, you'll encounter many new monsters, some of which haven't been seen in generations. A Witcher's Journal is a supplement for the Witcher pen and paper role-playing game, which gives you a number of new monsters and intriguing plot hooks to use in your game, as well as new lore and an in-depth investigation system. That tells us what it features as well, which we're going to find out as we take a peek inside. So I had pointed out previously that I'm not overly familiar with The Witcher. I have not read the novels, and I had not played the video games. I think the reason why I really never got into the video games is when they would originally come out, they were always for like the PlayStation, and I'd always buy the new PlayStation, and then I'd like give it to my nephew, because I didn't play it enough. It would just kind of collect dust. So we have the Golden Age of Witchers. It looks like we're going to get some lore to start off with. A bit of a history of the Witchers. So anyway, as I was saying, I'm not overly familiar with this setting. I mean, I know it from watching the Netflix first season of the series, which I thought was all right. But I'm kind of curious, because I would be interested in maybe listening to the audiobooks if they've been translated well. Because if I remember correctly, isn't the author of The Witcher Polish? Aren't they Polish language novels originally? And sometimes translations are a little bit off. So we have necrophages. Necrophages are disgusting and very dangerous. You shouldn't have too much trouble recognizing them. Often humanoid in form, naked, often cadaver-colored, and covered in rotting flesh, with or without skin. Yeah, I would say you could probably figure out those pretty easily just by taking a peek. So we had a little sidebar here talking about encounters. So I'm sure that's information for both, well, probably mainly for the game master, but players as well. We've got the Bulvor. Gotta say, the artwork's pretty nice. So here we've got our stat blocks. So I do want to point out that the actual core rules for The Witcher are fairly crunchy in most people's opinions. There is actually an easy mode that is available. So Flaming Heron says, I always read that as necrophages, like pages with an F. Might be. Rot Fiend. Anyway, so if don't be scared off by The Witcher rule mechanics. In fact, later this week I'll be sharing my video where I talk about not letting rules stand in the way of your good time at your gaming table. unless you're playing like board games. But don't let them ruin the good time you're having with role-playing games, because far too many people allow that to happen, where they're so concerned with making sure they get the rules right that, you know, it becomes a slog at the table. Now, that's kind of cool. Among Corpses. Looks like this might be some fiction. Ooh, that is one large bear. Beasts. Most witchers don't hunt beasts often. Why waste the skills of a trained monster hunter to kill a boar? But I've seen bears that cause more destruction than a horde of rot fiends ever could. People forget that the beasts that didn't come through the conjunction can be just as deadly as the specters and draconids that did. Kevin says that, yes, he does believe also that the Witcher novels were originally published in Polish. So we got our stat block for our bear, looking very pissed off with some arrows jutting out of it. The panther with a corpse there. Cursed ones. Looks creepy. Curses are a strange form of magic. Of course, mages can curse. Priests and priestesses can curse. It appears that, yeah, I can curse too. We hear me do it from time to time when I drop an F-bomb. It appears that people who are killed can curse. Someone who hates profoundly can curse without dying. How can people who do not ordinarily use magic summon enough magic within their dying breath to transform people? How does hate translate into magic? Some curses can be lifted. Apparently, some cannot. The person who curses can say, "I curse you," to sleep until someone feeds you a newt's eyebrows. Do newts have eyebrows? I don't know. Flaming Heron says, enjoyment first, rules second. Maybe even rules third. All right, so we got cursed ones. So what we got? The Arch Spore, or Arch Spore. So as you can see, the stat blocks are a bit different. So the mechanics for The Witcher, it's been such a long time since I looked through it and did my review. And it was actually like an early PDF, so I wouldn't be surprised if some things had been tweaked. Because I remember, if I remember correctly, when I did my review of The Witcher, it was kind of middle of the road review score, because it felt sort of unfinished. So I bet you that's probably not the case anymore. So here we have hybrids. Now, see, this artwork looks real digital. I don't know. Just not necessarily a fan of that look. But the rest of the artwork throughout has been really nice. We got the Manticore. Manticore is widely recognized as one of the continent's oldest and deadliest monsters. If you are unlucky enough to come into contact with one of the few surviving manticores, your luck will have to turn sharply to survive the encounter, because every part of a manticore is built for killing. Yes. I do notice that this seems to be presented kind of conversational, in kind of a conversational tone. Kind of interesting. That's pretty nice artwork there as well. The Frightener. The Frightener was originally created by the rogue mage Dagobert Sola, but the original was destroyed by the mage the very second after it was made. Unfortunately, Dagobert, or Dagobert, forgot to destroy his notes along with the creature. Rarely, a mage will attempt to recreate Dagobert's experiment using his notes. Even more rarely do they succeed in creating a new Frightener. But whenever they do, blood is sure to flow. Speaking of Frighteners, I personally think one of the most underrated horror flicks out there is The Frighteners with Michael J. Fox. It is one of, if I remember right, I think it's one of Peter Jackson's first movies. And a lot of people were kind of taken aback by it because Michael J. Fox is in it. And they're like, oh, yeah, Michael J. Fox. It's going to be funny. And I mean, there is humor to it. But there's some real creep out moments. So, if I remember right, I think it was rated R when it came out. But pretty good flick. Pretty good flick. Elementa. Elements are not monsters, not as we know them. They are the embodiment of forces of nature summoned or created by mages. As any scholar knows, there are 4 other planes of existence which consist entirely of one of our 4 elements: earth, air, fire, and water. Powerful mages can open doors to these dimensions, grab great swaths of the elemental power, and use magic to form a creature from it. But the mage in... Okay, yeah, right. I was reading it right. But the mage in question must be very powerful indeed, since, like most beings, elements do not like being told what to do. Flaming Heron says, about to say, isn't that a movie? Before they had to look it up. The Frighteners, of course. So we got a fire elemental, wildfire. A godling. A godling is a harmless unless offended. Oh, I'm sorry. A godling is harmless unless offended. Unlike many monsters, it can speak the common tongue and can thus be reasoned with, which is recommended. If treated properly, offered food scraps and the occasional cast-off tool, mostly as signs of respect, a godling can become a productive member of a small village. They're great with livestock because they can even speak their languages and will often do the jobs that none of the other villagers want to do. The Cyclops. Cyclopses are one of the many ogroids that display signs of intelligence, but are not what anyone would consider smart. That being said, a Cyclops doesn't need to be smart to kill you, but you'll have to be smart to survive. When one charges at you, wildly screaming and flailing its arms, make the smart decision and get out of the way. A troll? That's kind of an interesting looking troll. It's more of a Tolkien-ish troll than, say, a D&D or Pathfinder style. Draconids. The cockatrice. So here, our cockatrice is a giant monster, as opposed to most lore, where it's like the size of a chicken. It looks kind of like a chicken, like a pissed off chicken. The slizzard or slizzard. Many peasants make the mistake of confusing a slizzard for the comparatively far less dangerous forktail. Speaking of mistakes, some also claim that you can appease one with food. This will get you killed. To the slizzard, you are food. I like how this seems to have a little bit of a sense of humor to it. So it also seems like it's written kind of as a point of view where it's information being relayed from, one Witcher to another. Plumbards. Plumbards are a constant threat to livestock populations in Angren, and to a lesser extent, the peasants who own them and are stupid enough to be outside at night. While technically considered vampires, plumbards are more akin to a pest than an apex predator. Exceptional monsters. There are monsters out there that even a skilled witcher is hesitant to hunt. In some cases, the beasts are sapient and pose no real danger to humanity, but most often, it's because these beasts hold a power far greater than anything a witcher has ever faced. So we had true dragons. Yes. I discuss fighting dragons in my upcoming video where I talk about not letting the rules get in the way of a good time. And I'm not sure how many of you out there are familiar with the concept of the 16 hit point dragon, but I kind of touch on that. Whereas the reality is battling a dragon should be a big, big deal. It should not just be some slog of just constantly rolling dice and applying damage, because the reality is a dragon, regardless of the level of characters that are battling it, should be able to easily get rid of those characters. It should almost always be a total party kill. But that doesn't mean that that's how it should play out. It should be very dramatic, and it should be very, very memorable. I think that's one of the reasons why you probably don't see a lot of people, a lot of game masters out there, actually run dragons. That's why Dungeons and Dragons doesn't tend to have a lot of dragons in it. Unless it's, Dragonlance. So we got a higher vampire. Right, so now we're going to get into components. So one aspect that is pretty interesting with The Witcher is that there are some crafting rules that are pretty cool. We have investigation. Mysteries can represent a challenge for a game master. The need to present a series of clues that leads to a specific conclusion often feels like it conflicts with a desire to let players take the lead and steer the story in the direction they desire. Mysteries also walk a tightrope between player intelligence and character intelligence, since finding the solution often relies more on the ability of players than the player characters to piece together the clues presented, which can ruin immersion. At the same time, turning a mystery into just a set of skill checks to represent player character ability can be unsatisfying. Completely agreed. Thankfully, I got to be honest, I think game masters out there, keepers from Call of Cthulhu or games of that nature, like Trail of Cthulhu, kind of have a foot up, a leg up, I should say, on game masters who have not, when it comes to running mystery or investigations in other sorts of role-playing games, because we're kind of used to it. All right, so here we've got some contracts. Dear Witcher, sir, if any be around, my brother been ate up by a cyclops not but 6 days ago. I seen the beast roaming the foothills, but the damn thing's too big for a fellow like meself. I ain't got much, but I got a good-for-nothing son, and I hear you witchers take youngsters just as soon as you'll take coin. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Coco B says, really like the art. How many artists worked on the book? Because, yeah, the artwork, for the most part, looks pretty uniform throughout. I mean, there are some, obvious, there's differences. Like, that kind of stood out to me. That's why I pointed that out. It kind of stood out from the rest of the artwork. But yeah, very nice. Very, very, this looks a little digital, too. But yeah, looks very cool. Looks very, very interesting. All right. So that is A Witcher's Journal. So, of course, I will have a review of this in the not too distant future. So, as a bonus, we are also going to take a look at The Witcher Lords and Lands, which, as I mentioned before, I think this is the Game Master screen. So I do understand that this carries an MSRP of $25, or you can get just the PDF over at DriveThruRPG for $8. And the reason why there's such a discrepancy is, obviously enough, this is a screen. So as a PDF, it's just some pages. Let's see what we've got. Here on the back, it says, Lords and Land is the perfect expansion to help game masters and players bring the dark and dangerous world of The Witcher to life at their table. And it says what's in it. We'll take a look. So, first of all, let's take a look at the screen here. Once again, very cool artwork. So it is a 4-panel screen, as you can see. So take a look at it this way. Take a look at the first 2 panels here. Then we've got our next 2. And then we've got our final 2. And I will point out that this cardstock that this is made of is real thick. This is real nice. That'll hold up real well. Right, so this is what we've got here. So, first panel, we're looking at social standings, bonus melee damage, and unarmed combat, weapon effects, effect tables, actions, attack, initiate verbal combat, cast magic, use a skill to do something, pick up, draw an item or weapon, and then full round actions, run, actively dodge, aim, and take a recovery action, extra attacks and defense, ranges and target difficulty numbers, human damage location, common cover, falling, critical wounds, death saves, stabilization, stabilizing criticals, healing over time, healing critical wounds. So this is all kind of healing and magic here. And then finally, we have fixing broken weapons and armor, encounters, a number of monsters equal players plus 2. It's kind of a bit of a breakdown on how your game master should kind of calculate the creatures that the Witcher characters encounter. So we have IP rewards, currency, selling goods, lodging, food and drink, and services. All right. So that is our Game Master screen. And then we also have a short supplement here. In the dark world of The Witcher, a person needs every advantage they can get just to survive. Right, so I think we get a new race in here. I thought that's what I had heard. Okay, so people of the continent, across the continent, people are living their lives day to day. While your players may be battling their way across the front line, making shady deals with underworld figures and crafting complex magical rituals, these folks are just trying to get by. For every daring, roguishly handsome mercenary, there are 1,000 average folk sewing boots, prescribing herbal remedies, and collecting taxes. So it looks as if these are NPCs. Entertainers, laborers, merchants, scholars. There you go, halflings. So I think this is the new race. Their perks: nimble, farmhand, and they are resistant to magic. Halfling society can be a difficult thing to explain because they are one of the few non-human races that have never had a unified country. Halflings have lived amongst the other races for centuries and are well integrated into their adopted societies. They tend to coexist with other races, forming small halfling communities within various cities and making themselves indispensable to the larger society by creating thriving businesses and providing numerous products and services. Very cool. Got our nobles. So I'm going to take a guess this is a new class. Nobility, whether earned by noble deeds or conferred by birth, grants a person a grandeur that must be acknowledged. Peasants may curse a noble's name and mock them in the safety of their hovels, but most dare not insult a noble to their face. Yes, talking about servants, estates. So, can't be a noble without an estate, right? So, and Rodolph's wagon. So it looks like this is a merchant's wagon to be used. All right. So that is the Lords and Lands supplement that goes with the Game Master screen. All right, sweet, very nice. Flaming Heron says, because what game is complete without halflings? And no, Wizards of the Coast, they are not racist. Didn't you know all non-human races are racist as far as Wizards of the Coast is concerned now? So Omanel says the problem with halflings is they tend to be overlooked. Yeah, that's true. I've got to be very honest. I have not that I've ever had an opportunity to play too many fantasy role-playing games, because remember, I'm the forever GM, but I've never played one. I've never had a player play a halfling. You know where I think you would see people leaning towards playing halflings is Dungeon Crawl Classics, because they're that kind of luck battery. They can use their luck points to help other characters, and they regain luck. Because only thieves and halflings regain luck. Everybody else use their luck and it's gone. So, sweet. All right. So on tomorrow's show, we are going to be taking a look at The Witcher, A Book of Tales. So this is an adventure book. So we will be diving on into that. So, of course, do have to point out, there are going to be some spoilers. I think this has 6 adventures in it. And then Wednesday, we will take a look at isn't a Tome of Chaos? Yes, a Tome of Chaos, which is the magic book, the new magic book that came out. I think this is the most recent release for The Witcher. So we are going to take a peek at that. I also have some other goodies that showed up, which we're going to be taking a look at next week. So I don't have them nearby. Let me grab them. And of course, it was pretty heavy. And I'm trying to pick it up with like 3 fingers. So yes, Modifius Entertainment sent along Achtung Cthulhu 2D20 So we've got the Player's Guide as well as the Game Master's Guide. So we are going to be taking a look at those next week, and we'll probably sneak in a peek at the Assault on the Führer Train adventure that they were kind enough to send along as well. If the Dying Earth for Dungeon Crawl Classics shows up, we will take a peek at that as well. If not, we are going to dive on into Destinies from Lucky Duck Games. Yes, Lucky Duck Games sent along a game for review. So either we'll take a look at this next week, or, like I said, if the Dying Earth, or I should say it's just Dying Earth, it's not the Dying Earth. If Dying Earth arrives, then we will be looking at that as well. But the rest of the week, we are going to continue the Witcher week here on the Dispatch. So some discussion about halflings. So Coco B says their DCC halfling is the longest surviving member at the table, but he's a survivor. Cough, chaotic. Disfound92 says Achtung Cthulhu is pretty cool. I honestly, when it first came out, Achtung Cthulhu, the first thing I ever reviewed for Modifius Entertainment was wasn't it the Three Kings? Isn't that the adventure that came out? It was for Call of Cthulhu, but it was Achtung Cthulhu. And then they did Achtung Cthulhu, and I know I've told you the story about Achtung, not 2D20 Achtung Cthulhu, but Achtung Cthulhu when it first came out as a like D100 system. I'm not going to repeat the story because I shared it once and I really wasn't supposed to. I've been told that story in confidence, but still. Anyway. So yeah, very cool. I am very much looking forward to checking out Achtung Cthulhu 2D20 next week. All right. That's it for this time out. Of course, if you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ding that bell, because it'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. It'll also let you know when I upload other original videos, such as my review of Votes for Women from Fort Circle Games. Yes, this is the latest video that I have shared. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, please visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you won't find here on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. If you were watching live, thank you very much. If you watched live and took part in chat, big tip of the cap for not only keeping me company, but each other company as well. But of course, I know a lot of you out there, you don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. I really do appreciate you taking time out of your busy life to watch any of the videos here on the Gaming Gang channel. Everybody enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods. I will be back tomorrow. And of course, here's hoping each and every one of you gets to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.
Oh, hey, you're still here. Well, that's okay. You don't have to leave just yet. In fact, why don't you subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel right here, or take a peek at the latest live stream, or even find out what YouTube recommends you check out from the channel. And of course, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks again for watching.